Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And we're recording on a Monday night. We did have plans for yesterday, but some things conspire against you, and then you have to record on a Monday.
And we're old and have not fun stuff to do. It's not like anything fun come up, guys.
No, absolutely not. Well, I tell you what, Joy, here at the very top of the episode, I think you have a music news item.
I do. So with that being said, you might have seen this. Bobby Hart, who co-wrote The Last Train to Clarkson for the Monkees, died at 86 years old.
I didn't see that. Well, that's very sad. I mean, that is an iconic and classic Monkees song, and certainly of the era. Crikey, Monday. Certainly the era of the band where they were not writing any of their own material.
Yes. He also penned I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, which I'm sure you guys have heard, and Come a Little Bit Closer. So, and I just thought I was going to throw this out there, kind of like to honor him. I thought this was an interesting fact about writing Last Train to Clarkson. So, asked to come up with a song for a quartet modeled like the Beatles, like Tim was saying, because we all know the Monkees and the Beatles and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. He devised a twangy guitar similar to that of Paperback Writer, and wrote Last Train to Clarkson. So that's where it comes from. It's basically his twangy version of Paperback Writer. Yeah,
and as we all know, the Monkees were completely modeled on the Beatles, and in particular the film Hard Day's Night. That was the inspiration for the Monkees. So the fact that he wrote that song with the inspiration coming directly from a Beatles song doesn't surprise me at all.
And a hint to the Last Train to Clarkson, the reason he put that in there is he said it was because of a misheard lyric. He thought Paul McCartney was singing Take the Last Train near the end when Paul was singing Paperback Writer. I don't know. I'm trying to hear it in my head. I don't hear it, but apparently that's what he thought, and that's where he came with it.
There we go. Well, not surprising at all. Great song, but sir, rock in peace to you. You left behind some great music.
All right. Well, I will let Tim take it from here.
Okay, I have one music news item. Now, this will be a very big interest to you, Joy. Okay. But the Foo Fighters, your favorite band with your favorite Dave Grohl. Mm-hmm. The look on your face.
You need to take that segment out. This is what I'm talking about when Joy makes faces like that. All right. What about him?
Well, they did a gig. The first gig they've done with their new drummer, what's his name? Elian Rubin is the chap's name, who took over from Josh Freese. Now, this was a very interesting gig, and I actually applaud Dave and the Foo Fighters for doing this. So they played a very small capacity theater, a 900 capacity theater in San Luis Obispo, California. San Luis Obispo, California is actually somewhere I've actually been, because that's where Ernie Ball Music Man guitars are made. And I predominantly play Ernie Ball Music Man guitars. So when we was doing a tour of California one time, we drove into San Luis Obispo to see where the factory was. And it was just like a nondescript industrial unit.
Because it was a factory.
Yeah. And they don't do tours. They don't do anything. There's not even really a proper reception desk or anything. It's an industrial thing. Anyhow, I'd been to San Luis Obispo.
You watched them load a truck.
Yeah. So they decided to do the first gig with their new drummer in this theater, the Fremont Theater. But what was interesting about it, outside of the fact they played all the hits and it was a small capacity venue, the tickets were $30.
That's nice.
And you had to be there the day before and line up to get them, just like the old days. And they had a queue that you could join. And then when the queue was full, they were turning people away. You had to pay with a credit card and show your ID. And then when you went to the show, you had to show the same credit card and ID to get in. The idea being is they didn't want it scalped, and they wanted fans to enjoy the show for that discounted price.
That's so smart. I wonder why other places haven't used that.
I don't know. I mean,
If it
I would.
exists, I mean,
Yeah, I think it's just, in the advent of Ticketmaster and buying things online, it's just got completely out of control. But yeah, I mean, I would be more about that. You just take your chance and you line up, and if you get to see the foos, you do, and if you don't, you don't.
and it's
Um,
kind of like, like when you nowadays, Tim, when you get like a phone, get a ticket for anything, it's never like paper anymore. You have to bring your phone.
yeah.
And there's always like that little bit of paranoia that like it's not going to work. You know what I mean? When you get to the thing, or what if I did actually buy these tickets? So the concept of using the ID, it's weird to me. More people haven't done that.
Yeah, so it said it was to stop tickets being scalped to make sure that the fans got to enjoy the show. The other interesting thing is that the merchandise that they were selling was all retro Foo Fighters merchandise.
That makes sense.
Like the kind of stuff they had at the very beginning of their career. And it was incredibly cheap. It was like the t-shirts were $10 and the stickers were $2. Prices that you would have paid in the 90s for that stuff. So again, it was going within a kind of paying back to the fans, a retro to the early days, all that kind of stuff. And a warm up for this new drummer they have who has taken over from Josh Freese.
There you go. I mean, that's pretty cool. Were you able to hear it? Were they able to record? Like, is there a video of it out there anywhere?
Yeah, they posted to their Instagram many clips from this concert.
So you can pretty much put it all together.
Yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion on this new drummer yet. I mean, it sounded fine. Some people say the best drummer ever in the Foo Fighters was Josh Freese. But I think this guy sings. And I mean, like I said before, Josh Freese is probably the best drummer in the business, but you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And I think also in some respect, Dave Grohl didn't like it that he was a better drummer than he is. I mean, you could never be better than Dave in the Foo Fighters to be in the Foo Fighters. And I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah, because it seems like everything that got put out after that was more of a personality issue than anything else.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, how many bands in the world, Tim, they're famously on TV screaming about each other 3 years in? It's not that weird.
No, absolutely not. But I think it wasn't with Josh Freese.
Musicians have big egos.
Yeah, I think the thing is with Josh Freese, it wasn't so much that he was let go from the band because he is a session drummer and he plays with everybody and floats from gig to gig. It was more the way it was done, where he was announced as the new drummer of the Foo Fighters. This was the guy. This is the man who was going to, lead us into the new album and lead us into touring and all stuff. And then he was in the band. He had merchandise with his name on. He was on the website, all this stuff. And then he just gets a phone call from somebody saying, we've decided to go in a different direction, peace. And it was just like, oh, really?
And because he is one of those drummers that float around, his contract probably made it really easy. You know what I mean? He was probably never like an official member or something.
Well, it was suggested that he probably was. That's how it was suggested. And if we said before, a lot of bands like the Rolling Stones have got members that have been in the band for decades, and they're just a hired hand. They're not actually in the band. They don't appear in the publicity or anything.
Who's the one who always plays with Elton John that has since the beginning of time with the bald head?
Oh, Ray Cooper.
Yeah, he's an example of that. I'm pretty sure he's not technically a member of that band, but he was, you know what I mean? He's played with them forever.
Yeah, he's not part of Elton John. He's a salaried member of the crew.
I like how my descriptor was that bald guy that plays the drums with Elton for the last 20
Ray Cooper.
He's probably like, thanks, that's my identifier.
But apparently Elton really likes him and he's a really good hang on tour. So Elton brings him because he just likes having him around because he's a great guy.
Well, they looked fun when we saw them in Charlotte. He played with them, and there was a lot of kind of like bongo action and stuff, like fun stuff added into that concert. So he got to do a lot of so he kind of has like a larger than life personality on stage too when you watch him play. So I think that
true.
plays into what Elton likes.
But as I said, I've played in many, many bands in so many different formats. I can't think of a single band that I've ever been in, or in fact I've even seen, that would benefit from a separate percussionist. But, when you have Elton John budget, you can have Ray Cooper touring with you.
He does what he wants, okay? All right. Did you have anything else for the top of the hour?
The only other thing I had is there's some personal news, and this will touch something that you enjoy, Joy.
Okay.
As you know, in the last episode, I said I've been doing some culling in the CD collection. The CD collection was beginning to get a little bit out of control. And in my custom-made shelving unit is the core of my collection. This is all the good stuff. This is all my favorites. This is the stuff that I've paid full price for. And I will And then I've got an overflow downstairs where I take them out the jewel cases and I put them in little plastic sleeves. And that's mostly thrifted stuff. But what I've been finding is I'm running out of space in that, and I've been culling some titles that I don't want. Like this one, for example. I culled this one today.
Okay.
But in the core collection, I've run out of CDs to fill the shelves entirely. So what I've decided to do is to fill them with Funkos, but Funkos of guitar players.
So you mentioned you were filling them with Funkos last time, but you didn't tell us if they were of guitar players. So what are these guitar players?
Okay, so far, I have Brian May,
Of course.
Angus Young, Carlos Santana, Eddie Van Halen, and Slash.
So that's what brought it up. It was the Carlos Santana last time. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, that fits. Do you have room for any more, Tim?
I've probably got room for about 5 or 6 more, I suppose. Maybe a few more than that.
There's a few good, like Johnny Cash, if you want to go that way. I don't know if you want to stick with strictly electric guitar, but there's some cool Johnny Cash ones that I have.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah,
might be a way to change it up.
Yeah, I what I've been doing is going on Amazon and type Funko Pop guitarist and see what comes up. And
checks out.
yeah, we will see. I'll be filling the listeners in as I fill my shelves.
I still have the Queen one. What is the monster's name that looks down on people in the album cover of Queen, the big silver monster? Frank. As soon as I asked, I went, Frank. I said it under my voice because I was like, that's what it is. I still have the Funko with that in the background of it with the members of Queen. That one's pretty cool too.
Nice. I still have the box set of Queen members you bought me for Christmas. In fact, it's up on the shelf here.
Oh yeah, I was like, didn't I buy Tim some Funko Pops at some point?
Yeah, I actually have in my collection 3 separate Brian Mays. I have the one in the set, I have of Brian May by himself, and I have an opened Brian May that's on the shelf. Now, one thing I will say, this will offend you as a collector, is that these things are $10, $11 a pop, 12 sometimes, 13 for the expensive ones. I take them out of the box and I throw it away.
Charlie, I'm on the fence. So I remember I was glittering up, like I was decorating a lot of them for a while. So I took quite a few out of the box. Charlie, on the other hand, is very much a connoisseur who does not want you to take them out of the box. Molly is like you. She prefers them out of the box. So I think it just depends. I'm a hit or miss with the box.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I've asked for the Knight Rider Funko Pop set for my birthday because I threw the box away for the first one and I always regretted that. So maybe I have one of those coming for my birthday in a few weeks' time. But generally, these Funko Pops are not expensive. I want to enjoy them. I'm not collecting them for monetary gain. And I mean, you know, if I spend $15 on a Funko Pop, and 15 years from now, it's worth 50. I mean, whatever. I took it out of the box to enjoy it.
I will say Ruth Gatorsburg sits on my desk, Miss the Notorious RBG, and she's still in a box and in the plastic. You can't tell because it keeps going out of focus. But she's still like even in the plastic.
Look at that.
Because she's the Notorious RBG. Can't be too sure, you know.
Exactly. But
that was on my desk, so I felt like I needed to show it on this audio podcast.
I've got James Bond as Moonraker up there on my shelf as well.
I love how we always feel the need to show things on an audio podcast. It's really useful over time.
As you know, I do post some of these clips to Instagram. If you follow either me, Timothy_O'Sullivan on Instagram, or you follow the No Name Musicast podcast on Instagram, every few days I post clips from episodes. So you can actually see us as we sit here. Well, you can see us and you can see our background that we add to it. You can't see what's behind us, but you know.
Teacher. What's so weird about the logo being in the background of us, when we first put these on here, the idea was so we could start posting and it would, obviously advertise while we post the video footage. But mine, it's flipped sideways, like it's backwards when I look at it. But when Tim looks at it, it's straight. And I've never figured it out because it's only this picture. When I do the other backgrounds, it doesn't do that. And I've tried the mirror thing. It didn't make a difference.
I don't know. All I know is that when I record this and I edit these clips, it comes the correct way around and I don't have to mess with it.
I showed him on my phone because I was like, you're going to think I'm crazy, but look. Because he's like, it's not backwards. I'm like, it is backwards. No idea. All right. Well, let's move along.
Okay, so this week is my episode. Now, this episode was probably born out of an episode a few episodes ago, I suppose. And it got me thinking that we should do this. So
Okay.
I have compiled a list of a number of artists, and it's going to be our job between us to decide if they're underrated, overrated, or adequately rated.
All right. This is a good episode. I've thought this one before, too. I'm not going to lie. But then I always think about I'll be on a tangent for 20 minutes on every single one that's underrated. And Tim will just be staring at me going, I think we got it. All right, well, let's do this.
Okay, so there are some heavy hitters on this list.
Oh.
And I probably have an opinion for most of these. So I can be swayed, but I think
Okay.
I do have an opinion for most of these. But I'm going to start at the very top. Now, this artist is very near and dear to my heart. And I think you probably know where I'm going to go with the underrated or overrated opinion. But this would be James Marshall Hendrix, a.k.a. Jimi Hendrix. Would you say he's underrated, overrated, or adequately rated?
Overrated.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, as a guitar player, you're supposed to love Jimi Hendrix. As a guitar player, you're supposed to worship Jimi Hendrix and say it's the best thing ever and he invented every piece of rock guitar playing. And if we didn't have Jimi Hendrix, it wouldn't be like it is now.
Nobody would own a guitar ever again, so on and so forth.
But I don't know. I've listened to the recorded works of Jimi Hendrix. I've listened to bootlegs. I've seen concerts. I've seen what other musicians were doing at the time. And I think what Jimi Hendrix has is a lot of flash. And also, he benefits from dying young. Now, obviously, my preference would be to have Jimi Hendrix be around now, 80 years old, that I can have a conversation with him about. Yeah, that would be my preference. I'd rather be having an intelligent conversation with Jimi Hendrix and maybe see where his music would have gone. But, you only have a very small amount of collected works of Jimi Hendrix. And I don't know, I think he just benefits from his legacy because he's no longer with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a whole subset of groups, though, that are like that. And in some way, I would think a lot of those people in that group, like let's think like Janis Joplin or Jim Morrison, the Forever 27 group, there's like rock and roll posters and everything, and it's all of them, right? Kurt Cobain, so on and so forth. So I think that gave him a lot more notoriety in the long run for someone who had a very short career, because all those people had short careers. But they're highly, you know what I mean? They're highly notable now. And I think some of that plays into the hype around their deaths.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the only
I hate to say it like that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I suppose the only person that you could liken him to in the world of electric guitar is Edward Van Halen. Now, and Eddie Van Halen we lost a few years ago. But, he was out and active for his entire career from about 1977, 1978 onwards up to 4 or 5 years ago when we lost him. He was out and active. There was periods of time when his playing was sloppy and not good because he was on drink and drugs. And there was some periods of his career, or the majority of his career, he was absolutely fantastic. He innovated a lot of technology in guitar. He worked with a lot of manufacturers. He pioneered the use of the lock and tremolo system, blah, 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 stuff I won't bore you with. But, people never really got to the point of saying Eddie Van Halen was super overrated because he was always out there doing stuff and innovating. But I don't know, Jimi Hendrix, it's just, the songs are all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe I'm seeing this with contemporary eyes, but to me, it's a lot of flash and some very sloppy out of tune guitar playing.
I think he was an early predecessor or like an early adapter of the hairology in the 80s. You know what hairology is, Tim, where it's all hair in a way. So it's like that flashy, it's all hair. Have you ever heard that term, hairology?
No, I'm obviously familiar with 80s and hair.
But yeah, so it's like it's actual. Someone's laughing out there. They use it in Glee, but it is a real term. Like to refer to that kind of time frame in music where it was like hairology, the type of hair, that kind of thing. And it's because that was all supposed to be viewed as flash and no substance, right? And so I think that some of the stuff he did was a good predecessor to some of that stuff you saw later, and that probably did help his long-standing influence too. And maybe that's what people kind of see too as like top tier. I don't know, because you're right. I kind of get the flashy sense from him and a lot of out of tune guitar playing.
Yeah, the live stuff is awful, and
it's really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, people say, "Oh man, it was the '60s. You don't understand. You weren't there." But Eric Clapton was in tune. Pete Townsend was in tune. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
I, your guess is good as mine, Tim. But I mean, I don't hate him. He's just, I
Yeah.
would not actively seek out something because Jimi Hendrix is playing on it. Let's just say that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I'm listening to a podcast called One Song right now, and they're actually going through some Jimi Hendrix stuff. And it's just like, yeah, so it just doesn't.
Okay.
I don't. As a guitar player, I've been playing guitar my whole life. I just don't get it. And you say that to some fellow guitar players, and they look at you like you got three heads or something. I said, I just don't get it.
I love how I was worried I was going to be the one taking the time, but Tim has had a lot to say about the overratedness of Jimi Hendrix. I think that might be because he hears this a lot in the guitar world. I would guess.
I think so.
All right,
And certainly when I used to buy guitar magazines, every third cover story was about Jimi Hendrix. It's like, come on.
And then like it would always be like the segments wouldn't be that dissimilar. Like when you're like, you know what I mean, Tim, when you see every other third page being about him, but then it's like the same article over and over again.
Yeah.
You're like,
the
did I
guy
just
only
read
did
this?
so much in his short life. I mean, there's only so much to talk about.
That's what I'm saying is he just didn't have that long spanning of a time here. So some of the stuff I think that people attribute to him are like what you were saying, some of that stuff with the Forever 27 Club and the fanfare and these few articles that are constantly turned out. Sorry guys, that's just my theory. All right, we should move to the next song. This is going to be 80 hours long.
All right. So this artist, this band, in fact, this is somebody that's in the news at the moment. This is somebody who's recently reformed and against all odds have performed a number of concerts because obviously the almighty pound stroke dollar has kept them together. And this would be Oasis. You say they're overrated, underrated, or adequately rated?
Adequately rated. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't think that they have like a huge cult following here, at least in America. I think that might be a little bit different in England, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say they're incredibly overrated. I lived through that era, living in the UK in the 90s when they were huge. And at the time, I thought they were awful. It's at the time, I felt that it's just incredibly simplistic music played through Gibsons and Marshalls, and it wasn't of anything much of note. Though people used to really love it. And I mean, there was a huge band, absolutely huge band. With the Sands of Time, I can see they have some really good songs. And I've said before, Champagne Supernova is a really, really good song. But I think I would probably say they're overrated.
Yeah, I think in America, they're generally viewed as like 2 to 3 hit heroes. Heroes. Is that the word I'm looking? One hit wonders. One hit wonders. What I was trying.
Yeah, one hit wonders, 2 to 3 hit heroes. Is this a new term? Joy, is this going to be a new episode? 2 to 3 hit heroes.
I didn't say heroes and not one hit wonders. I was trying to say 2 to 3 hit wonders. I called them heroes. Well, who knew that Oasis was such a big influence in my life, Tim? That they're heroes.
Well, in fact, they've created a new genre. I mean, VH1 probably did a special 2 to 3 hit heroes.
2 to 3 hit heroes. I mean, Wonder Hero, is it really that different? It's not. I don't know what. After Wonderwall makes you that famous that you're a hero now. Okay, anyway. Okay, I'll breathe. I gotta stop laughing. I mean, I think that in America, though, in all seriousness, I'm very neutral on them, but they're not as, I think, as a phenomenon here as they were for you in your experience in Europe.
Yeah, they in the 90s, they were absolutely everywhere. You couldn't escape them.
All right, what's the next song?
Well, the artist, in fact.
Well, yes, yes, artist.
See, normally we go song by song by song, but this is going artist by artist by artist.
I'll probably say that every time. You guys could start a game every time she says that instead. All right, what's next?
Okay, so this next band This is the band Kiss. Would you say they're overrated, underrated, or adequately rated?
Adequately rated. Reaching a little bit on overrated.
Okay. And why do you come to that conclusion?
I mean, they're a pretty large band, but they're not like the Beatles or Elvis, right? Like you people talk about Kiss, but I don't think at that uber level. I
Hmm.
do love a lot of their songs. They've got like probably 6 to 7 songs that I can name off the top of my head that I actively listen to. And I think that their history kind of solidifies that. And they're very open and honest about they're just there to put on a show. They're not there for substance, and I like that. I think that that kind of comes through with the way people view them.
Yeah, I would say on the whole, I would think they're adequately rated. I think some of their music is underrated, in fact, because a lot of people write them off as they're just like cartoon characters and maybe wouldn't go deep into the albums and find some of the songs. Now, a lot of the songs are absolutely ridiculous cartoon teenage boy lyrics. And I mean, I've heard a lot of
What do you
Kiss.
mean, lick it up?
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
gun.
And exactly. Love Gun, goodness me.
Stop.
But they do have some really good music if you delve into some of the albums. And I think
Yeah.
some of their music is underrated. Um, but I'd say on the whole, I think they're adequately rated.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Hard Luck Woman. I've talked many times. Isn't really a song you hear very often, but I do love that song. And then there's Shout It Out Loud, and I don't care what anybody says. I Was Made for Loving You could in fact, I think, be a Queen song. There, I said it.
I think so. I mean, it's a disco song.
Yeah, it has like that groove though that I think is so perfect that I think that that's probably, and I know it's one of their most overrated songs. Someone out there's going, I never want to hear it again, but I really think that that's one of their. It is a good song. It's very good.
And I will say that God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too from the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack
That's
is
true.
an absolutely monster of a song. I mean, it is a remake of an earlier song of a song early on in their catalog, but the remake version is absolutely superb. And I mean, I don't know, you've been given a gift and you've been given a role, and that role's name is rock and roll. I mean, that is genius songwriting.
I mean, it is what it is. At least with them, you know what you're getting, right, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, it's it. Like you said before, you know what you're getting with Kiss. They are a money-making machine first and foremost, and a band second. And and the various players in the band have changed throughout the years due to them being available or not, sober enough to play. But even like Gene, some songs he hasn't played bass on because someone else is seen as a better bass player for the part, and he's just interested in making a product to sell.
Well, especially Gene himself. He's like the most, I mean, we've talked about the caskets. We've talked about the most ridiculous thing you can slap your face on, and Gene Simmons has done it. But I guess what I know that they don't always play, but my brain does always think Ace, Peter, and Paul, and then Gene Simmons when I think of Kiss.
Yeah, absolute classic lineup. But I mean, as we've mentioned before, a lot of the classic songs don't even have Peter on the drums. It's Anton Fig. That's the guy who played drums with David Letterman. He played a lot of those. Like I Was Made for Loving You, in fact, is Anton Fig on drums.
Makes sense because it's got that intense drum line. Now, I will say the best makeup was Paul Stanley. Paul Stanley had the best makeup.
Yeah, he's the
period.
star child. I mean, he created that persona. I said I highly recommend you listen to his autobiography. He created that persona so he could sort of step out of this kid that he didn't want to be, and he wanted to be a rock star, and he created a persona for it.
He's not the only artist who's done that. Beyonce, who Tim learned last week was the lead singer of Destiny's Child, everybody, had Salsa Fierce. She was her alter ego. And then, what is it? Chris Gaines. It's what's his face's alter ego.
Garth Brooks.
That's the name I'm looking for. Anyway, all right. I just had to throw it out there. And for those who don't know, I have a very love-hate relationship with Chris Gaines because I like Garth Brooks, but my husband loves the Chris Gaines albums. I don't know if he loves them seriously, Tim, or he loves the ridiculousness of them. I can't figure it out. I don't know.
I don't know. There's certain music. Well, I don't know so much music. It's like I like watching the Star Wars Holiday Special. I love that. I would watch that over any of the Star Wars films. And it's because it's a little bit weird, and that's why I like it.
It's probably why Charlie likes Chris Gaines. You're probably right on that one. It is a little bit weird. And if you've never listened to it, go find it. Go compare it to his regular music. It'll make you laugh if nothing else. And
Yeah.
the album cover, oh my God.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, back to the music.
Okay, so the next artist, now this is going to be controversial. And I want you to be
Okay.
completely honest. I don't want you to think what your friend Molly's going to say to you when she listens to this.
Okay.
All right. Taylor Swift. There's a long pause as Joy thinks how she's going to reply.
Oh, I definitely think she's overrated. It's not that I don't think she's a good artist. It's not that I don't think she's a bad person or anything of that nature. It's just that all of her songs for me are very poetic and wordy, and there's almost just too much to them. And I can listen to them in short bursts and then I get tired of it.
Okay. Well, I have a sample set of one album of Taylor Swift. I've heard one album of Taylor Swift, which is 1989. That's the only album I've listened to. I listened to it a couple of times to make sure what I was getting involved with. It was part of the album challenge. And
Okay.
I wanted to make sure I was fully versed in this world of Taylor Swift before I spoke intelligently on it. To me, and this is only listening to this album, to me, it was run of the mill pop, and I felt Katy Perry's pop music was better. Now, she may have other albums that may be better and could that eclipse this work, and that's highly likely. But certainly from that sample set, I was not blown away. Now, one thing I will say about Taylor Swift, as far as business acumen is concerned,
Yes.
as far as creating something where she was playing, the kind of places I play, to being the biggest artist in the entire world in probably a very small period of time in reality, you have to hand it to her. I mean, that is her
Not an
talent's
easy thing to do.
underrated in that respect, for the success she's had. But if you're just looking at the music, and I said that sample set of one album, that's all I'm basing it on. It didn't blow me away. It was for what I was led to believe how great it was going to be, and the amount of people who tell me how great Taylor Swift is, it was very overrated.
I would say that that is a pretty small subset of example for her music because that was before she got her music rights back, I think. Like the whole thing is she was able to kind of redo some of her music and there's like the Taylor's version or whatever. And that tends to be, I think, less poppy and more true to what she wants to be. I just think her songs are very wordy. Like the poetic side of it, there's just like a lot of words. That sounds dumb, I guess, but it's just a lot to me. But I do agree that I think she's probably amazing in concert. People love her and her business. I mean, she's a billionaire, so
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think she was originally bankrolled by her dad, but that's beside the point. But the fact she's developed this brand, this Taylor Swift brand, I mean, that is to be applauded. And I think she's a really good person too. And the way that she, gave bonuses to her crew and all this stuff. You can't criticize Taylor Swift, but purely on a musical level, with my sample set of one album, I felt it was overrated.
fair enough. All right. Well, what is our next artist?
Okay, so this is somebody who I think we've spoken about on this podcast many times previously. They're from Ireland. They're all fine, apparently. And this is
Okay.
U2.
Oh, oh, definitely overrated. 100% underrated. I'm just going to tell you right now, come for me, internet, if you love you too. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I think the problem with U2, as I would probably, again, I would say they're overrated. The problem with U2 is that they've released some amazing music. I mean, I could go through my library and pull out
I know.
20 U2 songs, and every
Yep.
single one, bam, great, bam,
Agree
bam.
with you on that.
Yeah. But they carry with them this sort of self-importance that they're, I don't know, solving world hunger or something. But Bono would actually tell you he's doing that. But they bring with them this aura of self-importance. And I don't know, and that puts me off them a bit.
I think it's that. It's also like I've talked about a lot of their music kind of bleeds into a little bit of like a Coldplay type thing, which is my I mean, With or Without You, I would say is probably the biggest song anybody knows from U2, right?
Hmm.
And it's a good one. The Joshua Tree album is great. Sunday Bloody Sunday, amazing song. Not an amazing topic, of course. That feels weird to say that after, but I mean, it is a good song. Vertigo, I always, and then like when he counts in Spanish and does five twice, sing that all the time. But they're just, it's kind of like every one of their songs, it seems like it's really long. Like they just
Yeah.
sing longer than the average song.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you have to say about U2 is that they started off basically as a rock band. And I mean, The Edge has a very unique guitar style, plays mostly the top three strings, and he plays with a lot of delays. And it's very unique to him. And he's one of these players that when you hear him, you instantly know it's The Edge. And they've sort of changed their sound through the years. When you got into Acton Baby, they were embracing electronic music. They was embracing sampling. They was embracing a lot of different keyboard sounds that wasn't traditionally used in a rock band of that ilk. So you have to hand it to them. They've sort of kept up with the times and they've tried different things. But I don't know. If it wasn't for the fact like Bono's outspoken Bono-ness, I would
Although
probably say that they were maybe even underrated when it comes to their music in some respects because of the things they've done. Or maybe to add, yeah, somewhere between
I'm on the
adequately and
fence on
under.
that one.
Yeah,
Maybe
adequately
even.
to under. Well, yeah, as I said, they've taken a lot of chances with their music, and they should be applauded for that. But it goes into the overrated because of this kind of aura of
Okay.
Bono-ness around him.
So here you go. Here, I had to. I had to. Dream up the kind of world you want to live in. Dream out loud.
Was that from Bono?
Yeah. Whenever you see darkness, there is extraordinary activity for the light to burn brighter.
Yeah, it's just he's just a little bit full of himself, and that's what makes that's what spoils it for me.
Yeah. Things don't have to be the way they are. You can kick things into shape. And what's so annoying about it is if you actually read that, he's not saying anything. Those words mean nothing. Like, dream up the kind of world you want to live in. Dream out loud. Really? There's no,
It's
it's, sorry, go ahead.
it's just word salad nonsense.
If you never change your mind, why have one?
Oh goodness me! Come on, Bono.
Okay, I'll give you one more. I'm sorry, I had to. Oh, let's see which one's the best one. All right. It is better to have enough ideas for some of them to be wrong than to always be right and have no ideas at all.
Yeah, it's just
Sorry. God is much more interested in who we are. No, God is less interested in who we are and who we want to be.
goodness me.
Okay, I'll stop. All right. That's I just had to. If you ever want to like just need a good laugh, just go Google Bono tweets. Yes. Quotes. All right, what's the next artist?
Well, I was going to say you should Google David Lee Roth quotes. His are the best. They're almost as good as Lemmy's. My favorite David Lee Roth quote is he said, "Money can't buy you happiness, but it will buy you a big old yacht, and you can pull up right beside it."
Amazing. I love that quote actually. See,
Yeah,
I actually like those a whole lot better than Bono's. I'm just saying, those are actually funny. His actually has some logic behind him. Okay. Well, let's move along, I guess.
okay, so this is an artist I don't think it's ever come up on the podcast before. And
Okay.
this is the Dave Matthews Band. What are your thoughts? Over, under, or adequately rated?
I think we've talked about them once because they're from Charlottesville, Virginia, right? That's about the extent. We don't really talk about their music. I think they're adequately rated. They're just like they're good. I know a few of their songs. I like them. I don't think they're like top tier or bottom tier. They're just kind of I'm neutral on them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think some of their songs and some of their music is underrated. And the reason I say that is that within the community of people who like the Dave Matthews Band, people love the Dave Matthews Band. They
That's
always have
true.
like a cult-like following that goes with them. But outside of a couple of songs, they haven't really hit the mainstream. And I think that is a real shame because I think as a result, they're probably underrated as a musical act.
And maybe it's just that I haven't seeked them out. You know what I mean? Like I know they exist. I know they're, and it's funny because I remember I've told this. I think I've told this on the podcast. I talked to when Dave Matthews was putting an XM radio at his house, and he called the call center I worked at. I helped his manager put XM radio in his house, and it was Dave. They were supposed to go to like XM and Sirius when they combined. They had like a celebrity line because they would put them in people's cars for free, just like ours. You know what I mean? And then it waits away, and so there was a lot of celebrities that were given this, and they would give them like years to keep them on. And so, but yeah, they were supposed to like Eddie Murphy called once and got the celebrity line in the same call center I was at. But I wasn't in the celebrity queue, but it was Dave Matthews Band's like a manager putting in installing exit radio in his house, like over the loudspeaker type stuff. And I thought that was really random.
Interesting. Now, actually, I have a question for you about
Okay.
Sirius XM. So, for our listeners who live in the UK or not in the United States, we have a system called Sirius XM, as Joy just told you, and it is satellite radio. And the way that it works is that you have an antenna on the roof of your car. It's like a little flat
Or your
antenna
house.
aerial. Yeah, or in your house. And it receives the radio waves from a satellite. Now, it's very clever how it's done. It's not like a satellite dish you have for TV where you have to point it. It just receives these transmissions from space and music plays in your car. The only problem is, of course, if you drive under a tunnel, it will actually disappear. But they do have like ground repeaters and stuff to try and stop that happening. But this system is pretty much unique to the United States. I don't think anywhere else in the world has satellite radio that's similar to this. So anyway, this is just so our listeners outside the US know what we're talking about.
Okay.
So when you buy a new car here in the United States, 9 times out of 10, it will have Sirius XM built in it into the head unit of the car, and then you have a 3 month trial or a 4 month trial or something, and then
Yeah.
someone from Sirius XM will call you and say, "Hey, how you been enjoying your new 2020 Nissan Altima? Maybe have you turned Sirius XM on? Did you know that we have the Beatles channel through till next year?" And just try to sell you a subscription because you have to pay to listen to it. And I've never bothered because I've either had my own music library or now I'm involved with the Spotify. Really no reason to get involved with it. But recently, they've launched a Metallica channel. And as part of the promotion for the Metallica channel, if you have a Sirius XM receiver in your car, you could listen to it completely free of charge currently as a kind of a teaser to get you into
Yeah,
this
they
world
do
of
like the
Sirius.
preview channels.
Yeah, there's a preview channel, but they've got the whole Metallica channel is completely
Makes
free of
sense.
charge. And I
Okay.
thought, well, I'm going to give that a try. It sounds interesting. Metallica hits some other metal stuff. They're doing like interviews and things. I thought it might be interesting. Like a bit of Metallica on occasion. So I put it on. And really, I have no complaint about the programming. The programming is very good. It's commercial free for the music. There were
That's
some
good.
interesting insights from the band. There was like live recordings that they're playing. One thing that is nice, it's uncensored. So, I don't particularly need cursing in my music, but if I'm listening to a live performance, I don't want bleeps and silent passages. I just want it as the artist
Or
intended.
weird lyrics they put together to cover up something.
Yeah, everything. The actual programming is fine.
Yeah.
However, the satellite radio system in my car, and this is not unique because I've looked into this, sounds terrible.
Well, Charlie just stopped working one day.
Yeah, it's because the bit rate that it transmits at is like the lowest quality MP3 that you can have. And it's just the quality is awful. Now you can have Sirius XM subscription on your phone and then, connect it to your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto or whatever you use. And then the quality will be really good and be as good as Spotify. But this whole satellite radio system that they're always trying to sell you on and trying to get you to subscribe to, it makes the sound system in my car, which actually sounds pretty good, it makes it sound awful. And it's like, is this your product?
It was. And no, I've definitely heard people say that before, but a lot of times one of the ways that it would keep people, so there was a couple of different techniques they would do. So they would always give you, your free 3 month, 6 month subscription, and then they wouldn't, or if you might get a call, but half the time nobody would answer. So then you would just start getting billed for it. And if you didn't know you had to pay for it at some point, that would be one. Or, they had what's known as a win back offer. So anytime somebody had that for free and they went a certain amount of time without, activating it, or they canceled it or whatever, we would send them a win back offer. So it would be a bunch of stuff in the mail with a code giving them discounts. There was a lot of predatory, to be honest, stuff in this. I was on the sales team, and then I did IT support later down the line. But yeah, I mean that's kind of their whole. And the one thing that really helped is whenever they combined your Sirius radio with OnStar. I don't know if you remember, that was a thing they started doing, so people could pay one for both, and that helped Sirius because people wanted OnStar, but they're like, well, for like $2 more, you can get Sirius too. So they would do that. And I remember one of my favorite things that would happen occasionally, because this was back when I was young and in college and working any job, and if you've ever worked at a call center, you know that is like the bottom of the barrel, pure torture job. When people would call us a lot to like set up their stuff, they would call us with their OnStar, and they would forget to turn it off at the end of the call, and because we couldn't hang up on anybody, you got an excuse to just sit there and do nothing while everything was still going for at least a good 5 to 10 minutes until you had to finally get off.
Now, did people call and complain how terrible it sounded in their car?
I had a few people, but to be honest, I was on the sales team a lot. So mostly it was people who really wanted it for whatever reason. So it didn't really come up. When I was on IT, we would get a lot of people saying it didn't sound great, and then they just stopped working. They just like stop working one day. You replace the antenna, you do all the pieces. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The equipment in my car functions correctly, but I've looked into it. I've read forums and stuff, and apparently that's what they have. It will never, ever get any better. That is the bit rate they use, and it just sounds awful. It's just like, this is your product, and it sounds terrible.
To be fair, I think a lot of the people who really like Sirius, though, aren't in it for the music, Tim. It's like the podcasts and the sports stuff. So they might not care as much about the audio sound. I don't know.
That's true. I mean, they've had Howard Stern for 20 years or something. And if you're into that world, the sound quality would be irrelevant because it's a talk radio program.
So maybe that's one of their big stitch too. Because I remember when they got the rights to what is his name? Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Like it being a huge deal for them. And they still advertise it like that all the time. So I do think a lot of the people who are into it are into like the sports and talk podcast stuff.
Yeah. And well, in fact, it even hit the news recently that Howard Stern re-signed with Sirius. I mean, I would assume at this point his celebrity has faded and he doesn't have the relevance he had that he had in the 80s by any stretch of the imagination. But the fact that that was a big news story suggests, I don't know.
I don't know, because the thing about it is I mean, he's what's known as like a shock artist, right? Like he's like a shock what do they call them?
A shock jock.
Shock jock. That's the word I'm looking for. So he's never up my alley. And to be completely transparent with you, the things he says actually makes me actively angry. So I will never be someone who listens to him. I remember when he did that one. There was one with Jessica Simpson that really upset me. But what's worse is the way he will take a female and a male who've been in a relationship together that are celebrities, and the way he'll talk to the female on one episode and then the way he'll talk to the guy on the other one. Oh my God. Nope. I can't do it, Tim. I will never be a Howard Stern fan.
No, I think his shock jockness has calmed down as the years have gone on, and I mean I haven't heard him over the years, but my understanding that his interviewing style has very much matured as the years have gone on. I mean,
I can only hope. It was pretty bad when I was younger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not apologizing for the things he's done and said in the past, but certainly my understanding at this point, he's a reasonably mature interviewer, and high profile people want to go and talk to him.
I'll take your word for it. I'm not taking the risk.
I mean, like he's interviewed Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden in the last number of years. So I mean, I think his style has changed, but again, I'm not apologizing for his earlier works.
It's not for me, Tim. All right.
No, that's fine. I mean, I said I don't listen to it either, but.
Fair enough. All right. What is the next artist?
Okay, so this is a favorite. This is someone you will have a strong opinion on, and you will know exactly how you're going to rate this straight off. There won't be any reason, in fact, to even think about where you're going to rate it.
Okay.
This would be from our friends in Canada, fronted by the gentleman Chad Kroeger of supermarket chain fame, and this is Nickelback.
Do I have to answer this question? They should just be unrated at this point. It's so bad. I want you to know my high school yearbook. So the senior year I graduated high school, it's somewhere's over there. I pulled it up and we had to pick like like the superlatives, like top person who dressed this way, but then there was also a section where we picked our favorite artist, musician, song, probably drink, food, stuff like that. You as a senior class, and you voted on it, right? And it goes in the yearbook. Nickelback is the artist. The drink. Now, guys, I grew up in Southwest Virginia. The drink was Mountain Dew.
Of course.
I can't remember what the rest of them were, but let me just tell you, they're all about that level. So my hate for them doesn't just run that the fact that I think they're terrible and Chad Kruger looks like the jerk of all jerks and acts like one. It's also that like I grew up in an area where they were everywhere. So that kind of contributes to my hate for them. So obviously, I think they're vastly, vastly overrated.
Well, I would maybe beg to differ.
Lies.
I would say they're adequately rated.
That's true. They do
And
get a
I
lot of
would
hate.
even go as far to say some of their music is underrated because most people, a good chunk of people, have the same opinion of Nickelback that you do. But again,
Yeah.
you get into those Nickelback albums and you listen to some of those Nickelback songs, there are some hidden gems in there.
I just, it's the sound of his voice. It just like grits on my nerves so bad. I know I'm not alone. So you're right. They might actually be appropriately because a lot of people feel the same way I do about them. So maybe it is appropriate. I don't know. He also comes off as a jerk. Like if you've seen him like interview and stuff, and then his relationship with like Avril Lavigne didn't go very well. So that could be contributing to the way I feel. Chad Kruger specifically could be attributing to the way I feel about Nickelback. I don't know.
That's true. I mean, that was a very bad pairing, really. I didn't see either of those people being those people's types.
No, and Avril Lavigne, have you ever watched her interview?
Yeah.
She is the most awkward person in general. Her interviews they make me cringe. And I don't know why, but I just imagine that like if I saw her with him, it would be like they would both be cringy in their own way. I don't know. I watched her interview with Chelsea Handler and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I just didn't see them as a good pairing.
Sorry, we got on a tangent there. You have to remember, I grew up in the early 2000s. This is hot off the presses for me.
I mean, I will tell you that last year I made a video for my work staff appreciation week.
You did.
Which was not a parody, but like a homage to Rockstar. And I heard that song 5,200 times whilst making that song, shooting all the video for that song, editing the video, all the stuff. I lived that song for about 3 months. I don't think I could hear it again.
Ever. I'm pretty sure that's the song that was the number one in my yearbooks. I'm fairly certain that's the one.
The interesting thing about Rockstar is it has Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top on it.
That makes sense because the guitar part's probably the best part of the whole
No,
thing.
he's spoken because he says, "Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need."
That's him?
That's
Okay.
Billy Gibbons, and he appears in the video.
Well, I would never watch that video, so I would never know that.
The
Man,
video
I
is
was
actually
giving him
pretty
some
cool. You've
credit.
never seen the video for it.
If I have, I like blacked it out.
It's really cool. What they did is they went all around the world and
It's
got
that
people to
one.
lip sync the video, lip
Yes,
sync the song,
okay, I've seen
and
that
then
one.
edit it all together. And it's like people from all these different walks of life, all being a rock star.
Yes, I've seen that video. Okay, that's the one. See, I'm disillusioned until you said it wouldn't have registered with me. I like blacked it out of my brain, but I've definitely seen that before.
Yeah, I figured as much. I mean, you must have seen it. You had MTV and VH1 in the 90s. You would have seen that.
And it was my senior class's favorite song, Tim. It was so popular at the time. So take it with a grain of salt. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay, next one.
All right.
Radiohead.
This is an interesting one for me. I'm not a big fan, but I do think they have some good songs. I feel like they're adequately rated.
You think so? I would say they are overrated.
Really?
They have a handful of really good songs, but but again, they have like a U2 style aura
Yeah.
about them of self-importance. And
Mm.
for me it detracts from the music.
And he's right. And after we did that song "Creep" together, I'm with like Tim with the other one. I could never hear it again, and I'd be perfectly fine. I could cringe when it comes on the radio because I hear myself singing it, and that's something you don't want to think about all the time. But I think that like I don't find them to be. I guess they are one of those bands that have like those cult following kind of people too, though.
Yeah, and again, they were huge. Their albums were, were massive.
Yeah,
OK Computer and stuff. I mean, people love that stuff.
that's
And
true.
they were people, adore Radiohead, and some of their music and their albums. Yes, I would say they're very, adequately rated. But I'd say just as an entity, I'd probably say that they're overrated.
No, I will say they do fall into the what is that lead? What's the lead singer's name, Tim? What is his name?
Is it
Oh,
Tom York? Tom York? Is that?
yeah, that's him. I've seen some stuff like him saying some kind of cringy stuff that fall in the Bono world of things too. So,
Yeah, I think it's almost the same category.
yeah. Yeah, and to be fair, that type of music is never going to be the type of music. I don't know if you want to call it alternative rock, experimental rock, whatever you want to call it, like U2, Radiohead, even like a Coldplay thing. It never does anything for me, Tim. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, if you get U2 and Radiohead and you take all the distorted electric guitars out, you get Coldplay.
Coldplay. Perfect. That's a great analogy. You see where I was going with that. It just, it's like, I always think like Coldplay is like Radiohead Light or the
Yeah,
generic version.
it's like the store brand.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say great value, but that really only registers if you're in America and shop at Walmart.
Well, if you're in the UK, it'd be Tesco value.
There you go. There's the equivalent. That's what I think of Coldplay.
I think you're probably about right with that.
But what's crazy is the lead singer, the one who is married to Gwyneth Paltrow. What's his name?
Chris Martin.
Chris Martin, I think as a musician is a wonderful musician. Like at his core, like isn't he like somebody who plays like 74 instruments and wrote tons of songs and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. But again, it's not the sort of
It's
music
just
I really want to listen to.
it's just that genre of music. All right, anyway, what's next?
Okay, so I think we have time for one more, maybe two more. We'll see where this goes.
Okay.
So this is an artist that came up on a lot of lists when I was researching this topic, and I'm interested to know where you stand. This would be Bruce Springsteen.
Adequately rated.
Yeah, I would go with adequately rated as well. Absolutely massive catalog, huge following. People love Bruce Springsteen. He's a hardworking guy. He's really the one who pioneered the 3 hour concert experience. He plays these sold out stadiums. Has this huge set list that he can draw from of hundreds and hundreds of songs. I think he's adequately rated though. He's not really my complete cup of tea. Born in the USA is a fantastic album, but yeah, it's okay. I'm a Bruce Springsteen hits fan, but there are lots of people out there that passionately love Bruce Springsteen.
So it will not come as any surprise. Joyce is a pretty big Bruce Springsteen fan because that's obviously being played in a CVS somewhere right now.
I can hear "Born in the USA." If I open my window, I can hear it right now.
I mean, Hungry Heart. Come on. It's classic. Glory Days. I love the song Glory Days. And I love the drum pattern beat, whatever you want to call it, to that song, the lead up to it. I think it's a great song. Born to Run, another amazing one.
Oh,
I could be here all week. His version of Johnny B. Good is good. I'm sure there's 1,000 others. When I think of Glory Days, though, I think of the final episode of Glee when they were graduating high school. They did a version of like, 'cause, Glory Days is talk about your glory days, and it's so ridiculous. It's like they're in their graduation get up, like getting their diplomas, and as each person like gets on the stage, they start playing Glory Days and start singing it, and like it's like would never happen ever in a million years. Actual graduation. That's like never happened. And I used to sing at graduations because, whenever I was in high school, they would ask the choir to sing at graduation, or we would have to sing at the basketball game or wherever they needed us, right?
Yeah.
And not once had that ever happened. Like somebody, you sing like one song before the presentation, but like the whole thing is ridiculous. Like out of nowhere's, Corey is the one leading this glory, and like a good drum set just appears out of nowhere's, and he sits down and starts playing it, but you still hear a full orchestra behind them. You just never see the orchestra. We're supposed to believe it's all coming from their singing and that drum set. It's the stupidest. I'm sorry. I loved Glee and some of their ridiculous, outlandish stuff, but that one took the cake for me. I had to laugh so hard. And like they're trying to play into it, like, the kind of rough Bruce Springsteen glory days. And I'm like, Bruce Springsteen was like a full-fledged adult, and you're singing glory days because you graduated high school and you're 17 years old. None of about it fits, but it's hilarious. I might have to get Tim to watch it, because when he brought out the drum set and you still hear like a full orchestra behind them, but you never see them, I thought that was amazing. Just saying.
There we are. So apart from clips, I've never actually seen an entire episode of Glee.
I mean, I've told you about all of them at this point. You don't need to watch.
Effectively, I've watched them all through you.
That's how I feel about Knight Rider. I'll be like, oh yeah, Tim said that was an episode, blah, blah, blah.
Have you seen any of the Flight of the Conchords yet? Because I shared them with you.
Yes, I have. And okay, I have to give it to Tim. It was good.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's good stuff. I will actually, you know what? I'm going to write a little piece, because I'm going to finish them probably this weekend and put it on the next episode. There's a teaser for people who want to come back next week.
Okay, well, that sounds good to me.
All right. Do we have time for one more, or you want to end it?
We have one more. And I have
right.
a very, very definitive opinion on this, and I think yours is going to be exactly the same. We close out this underrated, overrated, adequately rated episode with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Overrated.
100% overrated. They have one good album, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. On that album is about 3 really, really good songs. The rest of them are not that great. Every other album that they've made sounds like album filler to me.
It does. And the thing about it is it's also like, even even the hits, like the ones that people know, right? Like Californication, Star Tissue. They're like, and these are like their top songs. Not very great.
Yeah, Give It Away is the best thing they've ever done, and that is an amazing song. But like everything else just sounds like album filler to me.
I did like that one they did a remake of the song that's like Roller Coaster. What is that song?
Yeah, Roller Coaster of Love from Beavis and Butthead Do America soundtrack.
Yes, the Love Roller. I do love the Love Roller Coaster. That's what it is. I like that song. That's probably my favorite song.
Yeah, and that's a cover from the Ohio Players. It's a cover.
And their version's better. The Ohio Players version is better, but I do care for that one. But outside of it, nah, I could leave them.
Well, there we are. That's where we leave the episode, with a definitive agreement on the Red Hot Chili Peppers being very overrated.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
To remind me of another day to come.